Hello, how are you doing today? Today's topic is about emptiness. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word emptiness? Have you ever felt empty, or perhaps you felt that there is something lacking in your life? Sometimes that feeling hits us hard at some point in our life when one part of it is coming to a conclusion, to an end, is finished, but the new one hasn't fully started yet. And perhaps we haven't noticed the continuation of what was happening in previous stages of our life and how that can be carried over and used and inspire the next part that slowly has started opening for us. Because everything that we've experienced this far, and that includes also things that actually didn't happen but we wanted for them to happen, that becomes a part of a bigger whole and invites a change. Change is part of growing up, of self development, and of life itself. Without it, there would be no progress and we couldn't learn. If we were reluctant to going through changes, we might start, for example, feeling ill, depressed, or something might happen that will shake us and force us to make a change. Not being open to a change means that we are resisting life. Now, let's come back to the topic of our live video today, emptiness. How does that sound? Most people are pretty much scared of it. The fear of depression, the fear of loneliness, and the fear of feeling not worthy and not good enough, not having things done the way they should be done, and being somehow lost or being a loser, not being liked, or maybe making huge effort at some point, waking up after many years of hard work, that we are not where we would like to be, and things didn't work the way we want them to work. Or perhaps even worse, everything is perfect. Everything is how it should look like, or even how we have dreamt about it and we've committed to make things happen. And yet, we wake up or we go to sleep feeling empty. Where does that feeling come from? The best way to approach that question is to make friends with that feeling, not escape from it first of all. So, a strong person who invites a change, who invites life to happen, who is ready to play an active part, who is not afraid of making choices and trying new things and going through times of mistakes and trials and error. There's also sometimes when it is required to face her feelings around emptiness. What does it mean that this is required? Well, we need to be honest with ourselves. If this is how we feel, then the worst that we can do is to try to hide it from ourselves and throw ourselves in some kind of activities that do not really fulfill us, but help us not to feel empty. That is not a resolution. The resolution is actually to go through that time of emptiness. And in a way, sometimes it requires even to give up on hope that's gonna at some point finish. At the same time, the heartbeat is not to let this take over what we have already built up, which means that we still do whatever we have built up and the activities, and we pursue what we have done, but we also spend time to courageously look into the eyes of this feeling being empty. And over time, as we make in a way friends with that feeling of emptiness, first of all, we will become not so much afraid of it. Second of all, we will realize a miracle that we didn't expect to be there in the midst of that empty. It's never empty. It's actually full of life and of truth about who we are and where we are just now, and what is the invitation in our life to open, to try, to change. The feeling of empty has an intoxicating power to draw us inside. We are afraid of it because we are afraid of inertia, of, in a way, death. We're afraid that we will never be able to continue our life the way it is, that we will not be able to sustain relationships, sustain work and career, and in a way keep on going. It's only when we spend some time with that feeling of being empty we realize that there is something in it that invites us to get ourselves to know better and really face the truth about our life. Perhaps there is something missing in it now. Most likely that feeling of emptiness though doesn't come from what happens just now. It comes from the past. Underneath that feeling often there is a lack of belief in ourselves, lack of self-belief that comes from an event, or even not just a one event but a pattern, a sequence of events from the past that made us believe something that is not the truth about ourselves. And that feeling of emptiness invites us to go back and revisit that. It is often painful and requires time to heal those parts of ourselves that didn't feel worthy enough and felt perhaps lonely or not understood, neglected, abandoned. But now it's us, it's ourselves in adulthood who can attend to those parts and understand what is that part of ourselves really need. And then that feeling of emptiness becomes understanding. We know where it comes from, and we realize that the time has moved on. We are not in the same position anymore, and we have enough power to make decisions and attend to those parts of ourselves who feel in this way or who used to feel in this way. So in a way, the feeling of emptiness is not anymore bigger than us. It's part of us. And then that miracle that I have mentioned about is about that invitation to fulfill that emptiness, but it doesn't come from escaping from it. It comes from knowing ourselves. As always, at the end of the live video, there is an invitation for you to do a little homework, to do a little task. And because I'm an artist and empowerment through creative process of recording sessions incorporate creative expression and art, I would like to invite you again to look at that topic that we looked at together during that video in your own time again, and you can write or paint or dance with it. Prepare your space and reserve time beforehand when you're gonna look at that feeling, if this is the case in your life just now, or you would like to look at that if you have experienced that before. Take a piece of paper or take a notebook or give yourself some quiet time and dance. What I would like you to invite is this time around not to make anything at all, just to face that blank piece of paper, or not to put any music on, or not to paint anything, just to look at it and courageously face that space that is empty. Give it around 5 to 10 minutes and allow yourself to immerse in that feeling of emptiness. So probably what you will see after a few first minutes is that you're already gaining some perspective and distance to that feeling. So it is in that exercise or practice that I am recommending a tool of seeing the distance between you and that experience of emptiness. So the notebook, the empty sheet of paper, the blank canvas, the space and time without music, and not trying to fill this up, not writing, not painting, not putting the music on, but dancing, being, sitting, breathing, and looking at that empty piece of paper, or really immersing yourself in silence, will allow you to see that the feeling of empty is not all of you. It's in a way next to you, just as that blank piece of paper or canvas. And the lack of music still doesn't take away yourself. You are there. It's also a very powerful exercise to withdraw that urge of doing something about that feeling, because it allows us to face the mature part of ourselves that's able to take care of that part that feels childlike, abandoned, lonely, afraid, empty. And when we are making changes in our lives, we sooner or later will have to face those parts of ourselves that are begging for our attention. They are begging for making things happen so they can feel loved and seen, taken into consideration. Thank you so much for being here. Good luck with the process of making friends with the emptiness that you experience or used to experience in your life. And don't be afraid of it. It is something that can bring long lasting fruit if it's faced with courage. My name is Agnes Yasmin. I am an artist and empowerment through creative process coach, and you can also see me in person or for online sessions. You just need to send me an email, which is displayed in the description of this video. Next week there is one session in person available in Gdynia on 9th of March, 9th of April, sorry, and then there is one session also available in Hanover in Germany mid-May. I haven't booked the tickets yet, but the journey is planned. I'm moving finally with my cat, and it's gonna be a new chapter for me. I'm really looking forward to my sustainable travel by ferry and a train with my cat throughout Europe. I've never done it before, and I'll promise that I'm gonna send you photos in here because I'm sure that it's gonna be inspiring to those of you who, just like me, are big on sustainable travel in the times when we face a global crisis around the environment. Thank you so much for being here and watching me, and see you again. Let me know um, how did you get on with the practice. Send me a message or leave a comment. Thank you once more, and see you very soon again.